Now for someone completely interesting. My name is Ben Poole and welcome to episode 5. Now before I introduce my next guest here, I want to briefly tell you about the day my good friend Jim won the lottery. I don't know the date or the circumstances or if he even bought a ticket, but I do know it was the day he met my next guest, someone completely interesting, Stacey Ruller. Thank you so much for joining me, Stacey.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure, Ben. That's quite the intro.
All right, so we've known each other, I want to say right around 15 years, and I actually was talking about it with my wife, Monique. I remember the first time we met, and we had the same feeling, like we've known you all our lives. You have that effect, that really welcoming, relaxing, people just feel really comfortable around you. So another reason why I kind of put you on my, well, should we call it a hit list maybe?
Sure, let's go with that.
Okay.
It's great to be here and happy to share my story.
Awesome. Now, so over the years, we've got to know you quite well, and I know you're a very caring, generous person, especially when it comes to volunteering and with friends, family, and even with your job. But here's where I want to start as far as what's got my interest. I know a little bit about this, but I don't know a lot about this. And it's in your younger days, you used to race chariots. Now, before I want you to explain like kind of the finer points of the sport and a little bit of how it works. And then we'll talk maybe how you got involved in that. But can I just give you about like what my impression is of what chariot racing is all about?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so here's what I have in my head. You've got something like a replica of like the Roman Colosseum, and you're running around in those two-wheeled carts behind a horse or two, and they've got like spikes coming off the wheels, and you've got a mace and a sword, and you're trying to decapitate the competition. How close am I to the actual event?
You know, you're about 50% there. Like you're getting close. You're getting close. It does involve the horses. It does involve some kind of a metal apparatus that you stand in with wheels. So,
Okay.
you know, you got that part. There's definitely no swords, no decapitating, no big interactions that way.
Don't you feel it would be a little bit more interesting with
No,
it?
I think you got enough to handle going on. So I think that keeping that out of it is just fine.
Okay. So how exactly does chariot racing work, and how did you get involved with something like that?
Yeah, you know, it's an amazing sport, and I had the opportunity back home in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan to, you know, I was 14 years old. I had a love of horses, and I started doing some Gymkhana events, and a local family had asked if I wanted to join them and race one of their chariots with them in the summer and travel around with them. And as a kid who loved speed, who loved adrenaline and loved horses, it was a perfect fit. So Carol and Floyd Hogue took me in under their wing, and I can honestly say taught me so much about the sport. It basically, you know, the chariots start off with a lot of the young people within in that world, in the wagon racing world, where it's two horses tied with, you know, connected with harness to a metal cart behind you with wheels. Similar, a good example is wheelbarrow wheels is essentially what the carts are running off of. And basically you do a figure 8 pattern through the barrels, usually against 2 or 3 competitors, and fastest team back across the line wins. So why not at 14 years old take that up? I think it was a thrill for me to be part of that.
Now, we had talked a little bit before too, and you kind of mentioned like there's actually a lot more to the sport as far as the sport itself and the competition aspect of it, but there's a lot around the event itself that you had to deal with, I guess.
Yeah, and that's so true. I think, you know, there's many associations across Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, and these associations honestly are a large community. The same family members will attend the same different events along through these circuits, and really it's a part of a community. But it also is a sport I want to say not for the faint of heart, because the work that is involved for those 2 minutes of fun is extensive. You know, conditioning all week long. It's the care of those animals while you are away. So really it's a lot of hard work and determination, and but such a unique, rewarding experience for sure.
You talked a little bit too when we were kind of going through over this a little bit. Sponsorship, that kind of stuff too, is all involved with that too. So is that something like that as a competitor, you had to go out and acquire on your own, or how did that work?
Yeah, so for many of the drivers, at least for myself, and it was a chance for you to basically use your chariot and or your wagon as a piece of advertising promotion. So while we were going into these communities at a young age, I started kind of thinking, hey, this is a way we can have some revenue coming in, because when in the pony circuits, there's not necessarily a lot of money to be made, especially kind of in the chariot cycle. And so what it is it's connecting with a local business at that fair or event and having a promotion on your side of your chariot. So that was something that I took to and really enjoyed doing. And it wasn't until you kind of look back how much I really did enjoy it. It's the planning ahead of where you're going and connecting with those sponsors, and then continuing to connect with them year after year and providing that connection.
So as a young person, you basically learned firsthand about something like marketing, I guess.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which leads into like, how did that develop? Because let's talk a little bit about where you're at right now. You work for Lakeland College in Vermilion, and can we say essentially, in a sense, that's what you're doing now?
Yeah. So basically, I work for Lakeland College as a development officer. So my focus right now is fundraising, corporate sponsorships, donor relations. So kind of a big blanket of things. And you're right, it definitely does tie right into that. I was fortunate enough to attend Lakeland College and took their marketing diploma. And yeah, it's been a direct fit to kind of make the complete circle back. But such a rewarding experience to what I'm doing right now to really to have that connection.
So what would you say, like in and around the sport of, I guess, chariot racing, from your experience with that, what are some of the other aspects that have come into play in your life as a whole, I guess?
For me, like I said earlier, mentioned the hard work and the determination, and also maybe the willingness to take on a challenge that maybe not seem that you have the end result right away, right? You need to invest that time to learn those skills to get to where you want to go. So I think those are the key things that I can think of that really has I've been able to take from that a long way through to where I'm at now.
Awesome. Okay. What was it? Okay, I wanted to go back to like the racing itself. You said not for the faint of heart. Is there a story, or is there a memory you have with that might kind of give us a little bit of an idea? You said it's about a 2-minute event. Let's go through those 2 minutes, or tell us maybe an experience you had with that puts us in the driver's seat, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, that's going back down memory lane for me. I think when I think of the times, it's the lead up to the event, right? It's all the preparation and work with the horses. And like any other sports event, as you're getting ready, you can feel that pit in the bottom of your stomach going, okay, soon that adrenaline rush is going to be coming. And the horses feel it too,
Right.
Every horse is unique. There used to be horses that as you started to harness them and work with them, they would prance, they'd back and forth because of that anticipation. Just there's certain music that I can hear today on the radio that take me back to, you're hearing it before you race, and you just same thing. You relate to that little butterfly in your stomach, and then literally once the horn blows, you forget about everything else. Your focus is your horses and yourself and those around you, and the biggest thing is getting around that track clean and safe and doing your best to be ahead of everyone else. When you think back to funny stories, I think the easiest thing you can think of is there were times where, when it was safe to do so, we raced in the mud and the sand, and you'd come off the track and literally take off your glasses, and all you would see are the whites of your eyes. And there were mud in places that you never could imagine that there would be mud. And you're living out of a camper on the road, and there's maybe another podcast another day get into those details, but yeah. And
sorry, I'm thinking about maybe buying like a case of wet naps or something.
Yeah, sure.
And a bottle of water.
Yeah, anything would work.
All right. You mentioned growing up in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's funny. Hudson Bay is located right in northeastern Saskatchewan, in the middle of the forestry, in a snow machiner's paradise, in a hunter's paradise with lakes and situated right around it. And the best way I can describe it is a small community that bands together. And looking back, we're so fortunate to be part of that type of community where my grandparents were volunteers in the community and still, and my parents still are. And a community that without that volunteership can't succeed.
Right.
And I think that's something that, as we maybe have talked about in our culture, that's something that's falling by the wayside, but sad in that sense, because I think we all have a place to play in that and can do so much.
Awesome. Now, okay, so grow up in Saskatchewan, you moved to Alberta. Did you move to go to Lakeland College? Is that what?
Yeah, like kind of everything else in my world, when I had the chance to go to post-secondary, I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to, not be the one who took the typical path. And I heard about Lakeland College and I thought, man, this sounds really neat. So when I moved out to Vermilion to go to school, I knew of 2 people in the area, and that was it. It was a completely new experience for me. It was rewarding. It was an awesome opportunity. And I said I was going to come to Vermilion for 2 years. And unfortunately, I'm still there. I haven't left yet. So it was a great opportunity.
I guess in a way, 2 significant things developed from your time at Lakeland College. Well, number 1, it turned into a career at the college, and number 2 was your husband was there too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I actually I met my husband while I was doing a campus tour at the time I was working for the college in their marketing department, and my husband Jim was teaching at the college, and so yeah, Vermilion has definitely become home. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I mentioned that because it looks like that was part of the reason, the challenge of your husband.
Well, that's always a challenge. I think if anyone knows my husband, that's a big challenge. But no, it was an opportunity, and Vermilion definitely has been home to me for so many years, and welcomed us into the community, which we're excited about.
So I guess back to your career with Lakeland College, and what are some of the benefits or things you enjoy about that job? Yeah,
I'm lucky enough to say that I spent 5 years working in the marketing recruitment department of the college, and right out of post-secondary, right out of completing my diploma, I got to travel Western Canada recruiting for the college, which as a young adult was an awesome experience. I literally was in every town from northern BC to southern Saskatchewan and into Manitoba, which has all kinds of stories in that. But and then now just recently, I'm just coming back after being with the college now again for 2 years in the donor relations side and the fundraising side, which is so rewarding to be able to work with, companies and organizations and donors who really want to give back to the students and the organization. So really, I'm just the facilitator. I work as connecting the cause and the individual, and have got to meet some really unique people along the way, which has been awesome.
So is this something like, I guess, maybe businesses that would have a vested interest in some of the programs in the school and just trying to offset costs for students who are trying to, I guess, find careers that would benefit these businesses or employers or alumni who just have a vested interest in the success of the college?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be any of the above. We've had some great donations from some alumni who have gone on and wanted to give back because of their experience. We've had been able to work with families who support Lakeland's mission and want to see them succeed and want to enhance that student experience. So to us, that helps elevate the level of education that we can provide to those students. So.
Okay, so if there was any potential students who are thinking about taking advantage of what there is to offer at Lakeland College, or if there's someone who wants to help continue on with the benefit of that, is there a way they could find out more information, or is there any way to maybe contact you about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think the best way would be to go onto our website. If you're interested in looking at some of the giving opportunities within the college, again, you can click on the giving tab. It'll send you right to our team and our contact information. If you're interested in the recruitment of the college, same thing. Head to the website. It's great and very interactive, and watch what's going on online, especially if you're interested in attending. With the virtual worlds right now, they're doing lots of interaction where people can actually get to interact with those of us there on campus.
Excellent. Stacey, This has been an enlightening pleasure. When was the last time you did chariot racing?
Oh,
And is there any interest of maybe getting back into it? I know you got a couple of small kids right now. Maybe they might get into it.
yeah, I think it's been many years. I probably haven't raced since my early 20s. With the commitment that it takes, the dedication to the horses, and so forth. It's a big undertaking to do. And so I think, I don't think I can see myself picking up the reins anytime soon. If one of the kids wanted to look into it, I would take a deep breath and go, oh boy, here we go. I think we'll start with getting them doing some more riding on their horses they currently have, and start there. But anything's possible. So
Excellent. It's been a pleasure, Stacey. I think next time we have you on, like you mentioned, maybe a whole other episode on cleaning mud where you never thought you would get mud.
sure, let's do it.
All right, Stacey Ruller, someone completely interesting. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us on this podcast.
You're welcome.